Hi everyone, my name is Tosin Ajibade, and today I'll be sitting with an incredible personality. I respect this person so much in the industry, and today we'll be talking about his recent book. We'll be talking about some of the chapters that he wrote in his book, and also what joy has done, or how joy has transformed him as an individual. All right, so my guest today is the one and only Chude Jideonwo, who is the CEO of Joy Inc. and also the host of a podcast, a very popular podcast, which is called With Chude. Okay, so let me just say welcome. So it doesn't sound like I didn't say welcome. Okay, so welcome to our set today. And of course, we are here for one reason, which is to talk about your new book, which is How Depression Saved My Life, right? And it's a whole lot. I mean, different chapters, talked about different stages, talked about different feelings, emotions, and I have some questions that I'm going to ask.
Let's do it.
And so I'll start with the first question, though. So in the book, How Depression Saved My Life, you wrote that you were dying quietly with a smile on your face. So how long did you maintain the performance before your body really told you that, you know what, this is enough?
Right, that's a good question. That's such a great question. So in my own case, I don't even think it was performance. I think it was lack of awareness. Okay. Yeah, and I wrote that in the book. I said many of us do that. We don't know that we can be happy constantly. We think that this is how life is. You know, you go out, you cope, you go back in, you cry. We think that's what life is. And we think so because other people are living like that.
True.
Yeah. So for me, it was that I kept, and it wasn't as if there were a lot of my life that was happy.
Okay.
But I wanted to be happier. I wanted it to be more constant. I didn't want it to depend on my circumstances. I wanted to find a place of contentment, cohesion, all of those things. And so for me, and I wasn't having that. So I'll be happy, then I'll be sad, and I'll be happy, then I'll be sad. And I was not aware that it was possible for it to be different. I wasn't even aware of the choices I was making that were taken away from my joy. Yeah? And so I call joy the state of constant happiness.
Okay.
So then one day it became too much. Then I'm like, no, there has to be a better way to live this life. Even if other people are living it the same way, I think there is a better way that I can do this life. I think that and that's what I call joy. Some people ask me, what is joy? To use a short term, like joy is a state of constant happiness. Yeah? Even in the midst of, even when things don't happen in your life the way you want, you still find a place in yourself where you are at peace.
In this economy.
Even in this economy, especially in this economy.
In this Nigeria.
Yes.
Because I'm looking, I mean, your responses are, with your responses, it just feels like you're not giving us the context like as a Nigerian.
No, let me tell you, one of my former staff, she's in Canada. She sent me a text this week and said, so I put up a post on my social media, I think, and said, spirit is superior to strategy. I spoke at an event and it was a video from it. And she said, sir, you are the embodiment of this thing that you just taught. And they might think that you don't live it, but you do. Chiamaka, she sent it to me. And I was smiling when she said it because she knows when we started Joy Inc. That there was no business model, there was no money, there was no nothing. But I did it because I was that I knew that this is what I was supposed to do. Now, fast forward to make it practical because of money.
Yes, yeah.
January this year, when Trump and Elon Musk were canceling a lot of contracts for people who had anything to do with the US government, our company was affected. Yeah. And this was a lot of dollars. I don't want to call the amount.
Yeah.
And we had already planned projects that were based on that. When it happened, we had just gotten a new COO at the time, Jennifer. I said to her, well, that's great. We'll learn how to tighten our belts. We'll use this to learn how to tighten our belts. I said, I brought out the budget for the year. I just started moving things. Cancel. I was not even bothered. I was speaking at an event in Newcastle, I think. And I told them on stage, I said, as I'm talking to you on stage, contract worth XYZ amount of dollars has been cancelled. But it cannot take my joy because everything that happens to me happens for me. So I'm going to look at it and say, what can I use this to learn? Last year, Instagram, you know this now.
Yes.
Instagram took off my page.
Yeah.
You know that they do it
All the time.
anyhow.
Yeah.
And they said because there was nudity on my page, which is not possible.
Yeah.
Reach out to them.
No.
So they reached out to me. I was doing my retreat. I do a 1 month silent retreat. But there's an emergency number for 3 emergencies. So my colleague reached out to me and said, oh, so I'm like, this is what you disturbed me. He said, but your page is down. I'm like, so go and solve it. And they're like, oh, what if it doesn't come back? I said, if it doesn't come back, then we forget about Instagram. Because honestly, if they didn't return my page, I was going to forget about Instagram because I was so offended by it. I said, we'll now learn how to use Facebook. We'll learn how to use Twitter. They all thought I was joking. And I said, continue. They stopped posting. I'm like, continue posting. And one of my mentees who was there, after it finished, he said, wow, he thought I was joking when I was saying, I'm like, nothing in this world has the right to take my joy. So even in this economy, I'm using examples where my life has been affected, my income has been affected. Even in that, I've learned before, when that kind of thing happened, there will be panic across panic. We'll be like, what are we going to do? Many years ago, I was in a financial crisis and we started cutting everything. We cut birthday cake for the staff. So my CFO informer says, sir, I don't think birthday cake is the reason why we are broke.
I know, right?
My life has completely changed. I learned that even in a bad economy, if you learn how to take charge of your heart and your mind, you can still be joyful. It doesn't mean that you don't want the situation to change. So I'm not saying you sit down at home and be like, oh, thank God that my contract was cancelled. We'll continue doing whatever we need to do to achieve what we want to achieve. But in the interim, we'll just be like, nothing can take away my joy. And that's how I live. Everybody around me knows now, not before. Now, that's how I live my life.
So nothing can steal your joy.
Well, so I believe that, we are human beings.
I know.
So something can always happen.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's very difficult for someone to steal my joy.
Awesome.
I don't give it permission.
Okay, because I'm still on the first question.
Yes,
The reason is because, with the explanation you just gave, it's difficult for most people. I'm still going to share something that also led me to this particular topic years ago. Okay. Right? Because I remembered when I was getting ready for the interview and I was like, the points too. It felt like everything was just over. Yeah. And I'm saying this because this interview can also help somebody out there. So that even if they feel like, oh, it's the end of the world, even something so big happened this year for me that I cried my eyes out in March. It was tough. Right. Everything everyone was saying was just coming in, going out. It didn't make sense. Yeah. So that was what I was trying to get it out. Like, okay, are we sure that joy is possible? Yeah. Like joy is, one thing I need to put, in front of me to say, I am not going to lose it just because this has happened. So I think you really, really, really touched.
Yes, just even to add something. I remember I tell people that last year when I was writing this book, I was going through the toughest period of my life last year. I had the documentary, the exam everybody's talking about. Yes. A streamer had sent me an email to say this is their best documentary they've ever gotten. And by December, this documentary is going to be out. This was December 2023. It is still not out today. They had told me to go and spend money to re-edit some things because it was a done deal. From January 2024 till date, they've not replied the eme. After saying it's good to go, after saying, look, let us do this, that was in January 2024. Another platform. So I'm trying to make it practical. I'd got to get more money. I'd got to get investors because I'd finished my own money. So now with the confidence that I have an email, I now want to get
more investors
to come inside. Yeah. Then another company, I wish I can call their name, called me into their office. I hope they are watching. Come into their office. We do this. They're supposed to launch a new series, a special with Chude series that was a cross between a documentary and a reality show. Massive campaign all across. I've gone to their office. We had discussed it. Silence.
I'm serious.
There was like 4 other things happened between January to March. So one day I woke up. I was praying. I was sad. And I was like, Lord, it feels like all doors are closing. Why can all doors be closing? And there was also my ego. I'm like, at the level at which I've gotten to in this industry.
Exactly.
I should not
Exactly.
be emailing somebody and the person is not replying my mail.
Exactly.
You know? And that was when I was writing the book. And as I was writing the book, then the book began to remind me of my principle. That it is not because trouble will not come. You know, trouble will come. The difference is not, joy is not a state where trouble never comes. Joy is what we do when trouble comes. So when I was writing the book, I was writing the book and I was praying, and I heard, whatever trouble comes, you will survive it. You survived worse before. Actually, this thing they were doing was, I've survived worse. I've had a time when I thought I couldn't pay salaries. So,
I know.
So somebody else just not replying an email.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is less than what I have done through in the past. Yeah. So I have practical examples. I tell people that I'm not as rich as Dangote. Or some people say it's because you have money. I'm like, do I have enough money as a $30? Do I have as much money as Dangote?
Sure.
Do I have as much money as, no.
Collaboration.
Exactly, collaboration. No, I don't have as much money as my aunties. So no, it's not that. It's because of money. It's because I learned something in my life. That shows, just a last thing to say on that.
Yeah.
This helps people understand what I mean. If you are broke, you can still love your husband.
Okay.
If you are sick, you can still trust your sister. Happiness is an emotion, like trust, like love. Even in difficulty, you can still feel whatever emotions you decide that you are going to feel. Yeah, even in this terrible economy, especially this terrible economy.
No problem. Okay. All right. So back to the book.
Yes.
How depression saved my life. Yeah. In chapter 5, you mentioned that finding God in therapy and also in surrender rather than in the noise. Right. So how did your spiritual community respond to that refraining? So because in the chapter 5, you did talk about finding joy in therapy.
Yes.
You know, and also in surrender.
Right.
And this is like one difficult time where people don't even trust God.
Yeah.
Because God, I'm your child. Yeah. I'm your daughter. Exactly. I'm your son.
Yes.
Why did you allow this to happen?
Yes.
I pray to you. I pay my tithe. I do my offerings. I do. Like, you cannot start telling God, like, this is what I do and everything. So
I even did worse than that. I sat down in my room one day and I said, God. I said it. I said it in a prayer. And I was so annoyed. I'm like, I've been paying tithe since I was 16. I'm a church worker. Like I write in my book, I'm a Bible-believing, tongue-speaking, church-working Christian.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not perfect, but I know people that, at that time, that's what I was saying. I'm like, I try to live a faithful life. This should not be happening to me. That was my thinking. I'm like, if God cannot help me, then God does not exist. Then either God is a scam or God does not exist. I write it in the book. I went through a period where I wanted to become an atheist because I bought books about atheism. I had said, look, I'm not even doing it again. I'd stopped going to church because I'm like, how can I be serving God and be going through all this trouble? And I've been praying for months for this trouble to pass and God cannot do anything. So at that time, to be honest, I didn't care what my spiritual community. Actually, they were not there to help me.
I know, right? So it was just you.
It was just me going through this. So in my mind, whatever anybody said didn't concern me. I had already said I was going to leave my faith. I'd already said that. And then what happened was I was still reading the Bible again. Because I was reading these books on atheism. I was also reading the Bible. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, before we leave this Christian faith, let's first read everything. Let's know which one. And as I began to read the Bible, so now, because I no longer was afraid, by the time you say F God, you have reached a level of fearlessness. Like, whatever you want, if you're going to strike me, that's what I can get. And then because of that, I began to read the Bible again and read these other books again. Now, because I was now reading the Bible without fear, I could now see the Bible for what it was. I could now really read it. Sometimes we read the Bible, but we're hearing our pastor's voice.
Yes.
Our pastor is telling us how to interpret the Bible.
Or our own voice.
Or our own voice.
Because we want something to happen.
Yes.
God is a miracle worker.
Yes. Exactly. So we have already preconceived what God should do. Now I wasn't reading it. God had already, at that point, as far as God had already filled me. So now I'm just reading it to see whether this book will prove itself. So in my mind, I'm like, if you don't prove yourself, I'm gone. And when I began to read it, I'm not like, wait, this Bible is not like they taught us so. So first of all, I'm like, God never told me to do all of it. God never said He's going to bless me because I paid my tithe. People that don't pay their tithe are blessed by God.
Sure.
God never told me you do your own, I do my own. The Bible says, God never even said because you're a Christian, you will not get trouble. The Bible says He causes the rain to fall upon the righteous and the unrighteous.
Sure.
God never said you will not have trouble. John 16:33 says, in this life you will have trouble. So I tell people, you cannot reject it in Jesus' name because it's Jesus that said it.
Exactly.
So when I began to read the Bible, I'm like, wait, oh. And I realized it wasn't God that had forsaken me. It was me that had misunderstood God. And so I said, okay, right. So I need to build a faith that is not transactional. That's a faith that is not, I do this for God, God will do this for me. I have to be the faith that has faith that even when trouble comes, because God has said, I will overcome the world, I can stand still. So that's what happened. So I rebuilt my faith with a direct relationship with God outside of my spiritual community. And then when I had now done that, I now began to build a community that actually understood God the way that I now understood God. So I will say something and maybe I'll come at the end of the month and check my content. And people will say, but I thought you were a Christian. I'll be like, thank God it's not you that made me a Christian, because if it is you, I would have gone since.
Sure.
Thank God that it is a relationship with God that lets me know that there is a God. Because if you follow what people teach about God, what they say about God. I was telling somebody the other day, I was watching a video the other day of a pastor that said, when he went into his new office, he sprinkled olive oil in the office, all over the office. On the first day, people were looking at it and sprinkled olive oil. And then I said, but the pastor didn't tell you that he was fired from that job after 3 years. Why do you feel so wicked that you're a pastor, you come and tell people in the church that you poured olive oil over the place? I didn't tell them that 3 years after, that olive oil didn't protect you from being fired from that place. Those were the kinds of things that I was listening to that made me think, once you've done olive oil in the thing,
there's something else.
Blessings are coming. And I realized God never said any such thing. And most of those people were not being completely honest. So I began to build an honest relationship
with God.
So
let me just touch on that because okay.
Please, let's go there.
Okay, so let me just touch on that because even so at a point in I would say late 2022,
right.
I just gone through an experience that even if they told me like growing up that this is what will happen, I was like, God forbid. Right. So but I went through that experience, I went through it alone and because I had family and everybody around me, but the entire process was just like, I could not believe this had just happened. Church was not even the go-to area. That was how bad it was. Yeah. Church was not my hiding place. That church was not the place that I needed solace from. Yes. It was just that I was just all by myself and I was just asking myself that why? Number, why did I do this to myself? Why did I allow this to happen? Then God, why did you allow this still happen to me? But I then remembered that God still pulled me out of it unscratched. Despite everything that had happened, I didn't die. I didn't, I didn't lose my head. I didn't lose my hand. Like nothing. I actually came out of it unscratched. Then how did I find myself back again with God? One of the things I did was I ran back to the Bible. I didn't listen to a pastor like you just said because that just reminded me of that particular period too. It was that Bible that I held on to. I was like, okay, even if I'm reading this chapter, I don't really understand what's going on here. But let me go to this place. Okay, let me go to my Psalms. Okay, let me go to Proverbs. Okay, I think Hebrews says something about faith. I think Esther, who God favored. So I started remembering stories in the Bible that I could quickly run to and learn 1 or 2 lessons from. Even for leadership, Nehemiah, I ran to the book of Nehemiah, so I just remembered all those things. But in all of these things, it didn't come to me immediately. They were just coming at ease different times, right? And until I was settled in my heart was when I went back to church. So there's a huge difference between blaming God, casting God, saying God this and God that. But I now totally get it when you mentioned about, reading the Bible. So I read the Bible for myself.
Yourself.
I didn't read the Bible because one pastor said, read John 3:16 or read Psalm 1 verse 1. It was something that I was really looking for. God, is it true that you are here?
You get it.
Are you sure?
Are you sure? Is this true?
Can I find you? Yes. So we need to get to that position to also help ourselves get out of the noise. Because the question was about the noise. There's always noise around.
And the church can be part of the noise.
It is part of the noise.
Part of the noise.
No, it is part of the noise. Because for Christians, I'm sure people that will be watching this are not just Christians. So I respect other religions, right? But for most Christians, they always run to people. people, pastors, hire people than themselves.
Yes.
But they forget that there's also God.
There's God who is higher than everybody, and who we have access to every time.
Exactly.
That is, before everything you said, and I'm like people, me, I'm very difficult for people to put in a box. Because I go to church.
Yeah.
I'm still a church. I go to this every Sunday. Not that I live on the island. I go to Ikeja every Sunday for service because I love my church and I love God and I love. But you are right. Church can be part of the noise.
It is.
If you don't have a healthy relationship with God first, because church is God plus culture, God plus structure. Church is God for other people's weaknesses. So I tell people, if you're listening to God through your pastor, you are listening to God through your pastor's weaknesses and strengths.
And experiences. So that's not your pastor's fault. Your pastor is a human being. You are better served hearing God for yourself. True.
Because you already have your own weaknesses. So you now got your pastor's weaknesses, you add it to your own weaknesses. By the time the message comes, it is thoroughly diluted. So church, the way you said is so powerful. A young person came to me for advice and told me this terrible thing. You can say this person was heartbroken. I said, but God has been faithful. I'm like, no, now. I'm like, my love, do you honestly believe that God has been faithful?
Yes.
He said, my one is even different. He said he believes that God has been faithful. I'm not, do you believe? He said, honestly, sir, I don't think God has been faithful. I said, so say it to God. So do not be. I said, the reason why you think you have to say God has been faithful is because the church has told you that you have to say God has been faithful. No. If you think God has not been faithful to you, talk to God yourself. Let God reaffirm God's own. Don't carry all those Christianese that we use to confuse ourselves. Speak honestly to God. Tell God, my heart is broken. I'm disappointed. I don't have faith anymore. Be like Jesus, who said, my Lord, why have you forsaken me? Pray an honest prayer to God so that God can give you an honest answer. But church will teach you that no, you cannot question God. Who says? The Bible is full of people that question God.
Exactly.
Moses questioned God. Abraham questioned God. Moses. Jonah questioned God.
Yes.
Jesus questioned him.
Exactly.
God.
His son.
Yes. What are you talking about? So those things from the church is noise. When you actually read, I tell people that the book of Jonah, not only did Jonah question God, at the end of the book of Jonah, Jonah gave God K. So God finished doing all these things. Am I not God? Should I not have done this? Jonah did not answer. Jonah left the book of Jonah disagreeing with God. And yet that book is in the Bible. So the church can become noise. But if you have a good relationship with God directly, then you can even tackle the church properly because now you understand. So when something is said in the church, be like, that one is the pastor's weakness, but I still love my pastor.
True. Okay. So you described this depression as something that saved rather than ended your life.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did that perspective shift happen from saved to ended?
To ended. In 2016, when this depression was happening, so I was still dealing with the depression. And one day I was praying, and I heard, go and meet Fela Jotoye. I think you shared a testimony.
Yes,
let me tell you, somebody needs to. The other day, when I was doing with Chude Live, Pastor Jerry Eze said on stage that when God told him to go to Abia State and set up the church or so, he went to Fela Jotoye to get advice. And Fela Jotoye said, follow God. And that's how all of this has happened. So I think Fela Jotoye and Tara need to do a session for all the people whose lives they have changed in that their VGC mansion where they have changed lives.
The garden.
And
the living room.
Yes, and the living room. It was living room where my own testimony happened.
Oh, yeah.
So God said, I didn't want to meet Fela Jotoye because Fela Jotoye, I thought I was facing a business challenge. And Fela Jotoye is a business consultant.
Yeah.
He wasn't the one I usually would go to. So I was negotiating with him. I was like, no, let me go and see Pastor Sam. Okay, let me go and see Auntie Tara. But God said, no. But what I heard was Fela. So I spoke to my friend, one of my best friends. I said, look, if God said Fela, then go to Fela. So I went to Fela's house. I didn't expect anything to change. I just was obeying instruction. I got to Fela's house, and Fela was not. So what I said to Fela is, why has God forsaken me? And his uncle Fela to me. So when I call him Fela, I just assume that he's an uncle inside.
Yes.
Why has God forsaken me? And he said, God has not forsaken you. And he was talking to me, and he said, Chude. And I said, what? And I asked him 2 questions. I said, what is the reason for this trouble? I think the first thing that he did that blessed him, he said, I don't know. Now, usually, the churches I grew up in my youth, pastor doesn't say, I don't know. Every question you ask the pastor will say, I know. So the fact that Fela said, I don't know, was powerful. It meant that he's not going to bullshit me. He's not going to lie to me. He's not going to pretend to me. So that calmed me down first. He now said, as I was talking, I said, Chude. He said, Chude, I'm hearing something. I said, he now ran upstairs. He now brought a sheet of paper. I said, Chude, I'm feeling goosebumps. And that's the only diagram in the book. I put it in the book. He signed it. He said, Chude, what I'm hearing from God, I don't know why God brought this to your life. But God is saying that God is going to use this to change your life in such a radical way that you will go and share the testimony to the world. And he said, he drew a diagram and said, this is where God wants you to go. But to go there, you would have had to climb a mountain. And it would take time. So you go like this, then you come down like this before you achieve it. Say, but God wants to shorten the journey. So God is taking you through a valley. And he said, it's the valley of the shadow of death. But he says, it is not death. It's the shadow of death. So once if you're able to pass through it and get to the other side, today, your life is going to change. I felt the goosebumps too. And when I left his house and got into the car, I went with my friend. When I left and got into the car, I felt happy for the first time. This is 3 days. Depression, this was 3 months of unhappiness. I couldn't feel any joy. But when I left the last place, my spirit knew that what he was saying was true. And nothing had changed in my life. I was still having the financial trouble. I was still having the illness. I was still having, even the depression didn't go. But I knew that, and I think there's a way that I read it in the book. The thing I was going through now had a purpose. I could now see a way out of it. And just seeing that way out of it it was like somebody punching. Imagine you are stuck in a dark balloon. No, not a balloon. Imagine you are stuck in a dark room and there's no light, and somebody opens a small window. And light comes in. That's how I felt when I left Illumination. That is when I began to feel like, okay, this depression is not going to kill me. It's not going to kill me. And it took a while, and then later, within a year, I realized that, but I left Red as CEO. I went to America to do a fellowship at Yale University. And then in Yale, I realized, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. I want to teach people how to live joyful lives. And I said, this is the purpose of all I've gone through.
To have substance.
To have substance. Because if I came and told people, this is how you can recover from depression, I'll be like, because you've not gone through it.
But people will listen to you because they see you, like they hold you in high, esteem.
Yes.
And they would not even question if truly you went through that process.
Yes.
Let's put that as a standing.
Yes.
But you still went through certain experiences, even if you didn't share everything here. But you still went through some things that also at that time or at that moment, you found the solution to it. Some you didn't find the solution to it, but you knew where this was heading to. So if anyone right now who is watching would say, okay, this is the stage I am at in my life, and I know I've heard of you, or I've seen maybe the podcast or the retreat, or could be anything. They might even see it as, I think you have an answer to my question. So there are two things. The experience stands, but that people know you and they hold you in high esteem is also there. So the two can actually work, even if there's a third one there that I don't know. Right?
I agree.
It still comes together.
I agree with that.
to find a solution for someone.
I agree with that. And it's part of why I'm sharing the story, because I'm like, there are a lot of. That's why I do the retreat. The retreat is full of billionaires and multi-millionaires who and not all of them are billionaires, but who are going through deep trouble in their life. And they cannot go and talk about it. They don't want to go to therapy. Okay. They cannot go and talk about it in public. They can't even talk about it to their friends. So that's why they come to this retreat, because they look at me as Chude has succeeded. So I can share this with you. Okay, so our generation, we are unhappy people. Oh no, you know this now. No, I'm just saying. They're unhappy now. It's not even a flex. So many people are unhappy. And it's not because of the economy, because Nigeria's economy has been bad since after the oil boom. Every year has been worse in Nigeria since the year we discovered oil. After that, 2 years after, economy became bad. Every generation has been worse than generation before. And every generation has gotten unhappier. But it's not just Nigeria. In America, every generation has been unhappier. This generation is the unhappiest American generation ever. And they've been tracking for decades. American young people have the depression rates are worse than at any year. The suicide rates are worse than any year. Anxiety rates are worse than any year. So it's not about money. If it's about money, America should not be having teenagers who are killing themselves at a worse rate. Do you understand? It's not just America, in Canada, in Australia. That's why Australia is banning social media.
Yeah, for
because
young age,
teen death, teen suicide, teen depression has increased, and researchers say it's linked to social media. So this is the unhappiest generation we have. It's not their fault. It's not because they did anything. It's because they were born into a generation where social media has overtaken reflection. Like before, when you wake up, I tell you, when you wake up in the morning, I was seeing a poet this day, a guy called Saheed, and he says we worship. That's the way he said it. Worship is where you spend the most. That's the way he said it. We wake up in the morning, we worship other people's timeline. So this is what I say. You wake up in the morning, you pick up your phone. Before you even hear yourself, you hear what 800 people are saying. You cannot even connect with your own deepest self.
True.
So that's the first thing. We don't even have we can't spend time with ourselves. Even when I spend time in parks in Lagos. That's one of my happiness routines. You go, sometimes you see young people, and I tell you that Lagos has over 100 parks.
Oh, we don't know.
There's a park in Ikorodu, a free park.
In Ikorodu?
Yes. There's a park in Alimosho, a free park.
Oh, wow.
Yaba, I think it's 500 naira. I know these things because when people tell me, but we don't have money for it, I'm like, there are free beaches.
Yeah.
Okay, if you cannot pay for the one here, go down to Aja. You have free beaches. So
True.
I'm ready for anybody with the argument.
True.
So young people don't have the time to reflect. So even when I meet them at the park, they're recording it on their phone. So I'm like, you don't even have the time to get the benefit of sitting with nature. That's on the one hand. The second hand is that, and again, not the fault of young people, that they were born in a time when perfection is so important. It's so important to present a perfect picture. Your wedding, you have to do pre-wedding shoots. You have to do pre-wedding shoots. And it's not a problem. That's not the problem. The problem is not I'm not criticizing. It's deeper than that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm saying that we have to present a perfect picture.
Yeah.
You cannot go into a restaurant and just post a picture of your food. The food has to look perfect. I am not a creator.
I know.
So why? So that creates, the space for authenticity has shrunk.
It has. Can I add?
Please.
Okay. So we currently live let's say live or in a phase where, like you mentioned, everything has to be perfect.
Yes.
At a point, I was not even proud of my face or myself, or putting myself out.
Really?
Yes. Because of, you're not wearing makeup. Oh, yes, you look fat. Oh, you look, oh, you look this. Oh, you look that.
Yes.
And even proud, okay, so before the surgery that I had in 2023, I was dealing with PCOS. Right, and PCOS has this way of like making you as a woman, like you're dealing with a lot of things, hormonal imbalance and everything. Yeah. So when people see me out, oh, how you doing? Oh, you look fat, and I'm like, okay. And the next time again, you look good, you look thin. Oh, okay. Yeah. But that's what PCOS, does
you told me that on
to your body.
Yes.
Then fast forward, the fiber thing happened, big tummy, everything, blah blah blah, pain and all of that. Why am I sharing? There's a time, when people, maybe it might not even just be me, but that period didn't make me feel good about myself anymore. So I needed to now start looking at a point, I think after COVID, the year after COVID, 2021 or so, I started thinking of which photographer can I call to start taking professional pictures? Because that was what the internet was requesting for. That was what you needed to put to say, okay, this is your proof of life or something like that.
You get it. It's your proof of life.
So it dealt with me. What you just said now, I dealt with it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Thank you for sharing.
Yes. And recently, I'm just like, however it is, however I look like, it. Yes. I am putting my face out there.
Yes.
Right? Whether with makeup or not. Thank God for good skin. I have a good skin, but I'm putting my face out there. Yeah. So a lot of us, right, are going through that phase.
Absolutely.
Is it that the wig is not good, or your nails are not good, I'm not saying don't look good. You can always look good, but there's a way people put it at you, like because of who you are, you should be this. I sold my car I sold my first car because I had a friend around that time who told me that I was not supposed to drive that type of car, but I was supposed to be driving Prado SUV, like the Jeep type of car. I was driving under EOD.
Which is some people's dream.
That was what I was driving at that time.
Yeah.
Right? But there's a way there's a way everything just came around. Yeah. You're not supposed to be driving this, you should be driving this. Yes. Guess what I did?
Yeah.
I sold the car.
Yeah.
I became carless for 2 years.
Wow.
Before I could buy my second car.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you, these things really happen.
They happen
now,
to a lot
before
of people.
social media became what it is right now, now we have Snap, we have TikTok, we have everything. I'm talking about before 2020.
So imagine how worse it is now.
It is worse.
Yes, it is
right
worse.
now.
It is worse.
And because a lot of young people today have access to this digital phone or anything. They have access to the internet. They also want to look good.
Yes.
They also want to have to be good.
Yes.
But this was me.
Even
before
without,
2020.
Yes.
My car was the problem. And I sold the car. And I learned a very painful lesson. I shouldn't have done that.
Yes.
I shouldn't have listened.
Yes.
I should have just done what I was doing. Because at that time, the popularity was, oh my God, the super girl. And till date, I don't like the, let me live my life.
Live your life.
Let me live my life, because at the end of the day, the popularity is there, yes, and I thank God for it, but I want the money equivalent to that popularity.
That is all we are saying.
So if you put me in a box of, you need to look like this, you need to look like that, I have learned that lesson, years ago, and it actually costed me 2 years before I could even get a new car. So if I had listened, I shouldn't have just fallen into that. So it's still happening, but now this version of social media,
it's so
now
bad.
It's phones. Yes. I've been to recent events.
Yes.
iPhone 17 everywhere.
I don't understand though.
I'm not saying don't buy iPhone 17.
I'm saying don't buy it.
I'm not saying don't buy. If you want to upgrade, it's fine. But it's pressure. Because from the back camera, you can always tell that this is an iPhone 17, right?
Also, they're upgrading it. Okay, so I get what you might get.
Like you can swap, yes. So you can always like upgrade from this to this, right? So it's you can always tell like it is now part of the I have arrived package. It's the truth.
The devil is stealing the destinies of our young people.
How will I find joy if I don't have an iPhone 17 today?
Because you don't have joy when you have it. Let me tell you. If it is that, see, I don't tell you to change. If it is working for you, don't change it. If after you bought the iPhone, you stop feeling sad, okay. But after you buy the iPhone, your friends will still judge you based on where you eat, where you live, whether you have a car, how you. I'm telling you, the hustle doesn't end.
Exactly.
So what I'm saying is, if you say to me, once I bought the iPhone, I became happy.
Exactly.
Nothing affected me anymore. Nobody's stories affected me. Okay, good. But it's a lie. We have the research. It's a lie. Maybe after you buy the iPhone, you're under pressure.
Exactly.
You're under pressure for something else to compete with them. You're under pressure to be in the front seat of the Rhythm Unplugged concert. You're under pressure to buy a cloth to fit the phone. It does not end.
It doesn't end.
There is a word for this in economics research. It's called the hedonic treadmill. It shows they've done the research. When you get a new job, 1 week after it, 1 month after it, you'll be happy. 3 months after it, you return to how you were feeling before you got the real job.
And it affects the job.
It affects the job. If you're earning 1 million, you will not be happy with that 1 million forever. After a few weeks, you start looking for how you're going to earn 1.5 million. If your happiness is tied to external things, it will never be enough. Look, this is not a yabis to them. If money was enough, you will not have top musicians always comparing themselves to each other.
True.
You will say, but you have Grammy. You have Grammy.
Yeah.
It should be enough for you.
True.
It is not enough. Success will not make you happy. Somebody that you think has achieved will come and do a Twitter rant because they're not happy about how somebody greeted them the other day. It's not enough. There is no amount of money you will ever get in your life
that will bring you joy.
That will bring you joy. It will bring you comfort. It will bring you fake friends. And I'm not saying they won't have you some original friends.
Sure.
It will get you a bigger car. I'm not saying it will not get you a bigger car. I'm not saying it will not get you a bigger house. I'm saying if it's happiness that you want, money is not what is going to give you that.
Okay, so I want to go back a little bit to what you said. You talked about nature. You talked about parks.
Yes.
Right? You talked about beaches.
Yes.
And these are some of the things that we have here in Lagos.
Yes. Yes.
You now mentioned locations where those parks. I'm going back a little bit.
Yes, let's do it.
So you know that I'm listening.
Yeah, they're listening. Yes, I can see that.
You mentioned the Ikorodu.
Yes.
You mentioned Alimosho.
Yes.
Most of us, we all know Muriokola Park.
Yes.
Or we know JJT Park.
Yes.
Or Undubusi Park.
Yes.
If somebody in Ikorodu who is watching this, please know that you can find joy.
It's accessible to
in
you.
nature.
Yes.
If you go to a park.
Yes.
In Alimosho. Alimosho is actually the biggest local government
in the state.
In the state.
Yes.
So that shows that joy is something that you can create
it's
where you are.
accessible to you. And let me tell you, many years ago, I was writing for a magazine. I don't want to call the name so people don't know what it is. I was writing for a magazine, biggest magazine, lifestyle magazine in the country at the time. And they sent me to go interview 4 couples. So I used to do a column where I would interview 4 people who live the same life. So I went to interview 4 couples. And I can never forget. One of them was a millionaire in dollars. The other was a popular celebrity couple. They are still popular till today. The third one, they were living in Palm Grove. You know, they were living in a self-contained. You know how when you enter a house, and something has not been dry, you know how it smells when there's mildew.
Yeah.
I can never forget. I tell this story people have not asked me in a while, so I'm sharing it with you for the first time in a long time. I remember when I entered into the first house, I felt tension, the celebrity house. 15 years after they were divorced. I felt tension. I was not comfortable. I went to the other house, I felt unwelcome. I went to the Palm Grove house, I felt happiness. The husband and the wife loved each other. Now, you don't need, I'm not saying you should be poor. That's not what I'm saying. No. What I'm saying is that even in, I could feel as a young reporter, I was 21 or 22. I knew where there was joy. Because the husband and the wife loved themselves. So, and that's part of why I'm doing this. And I'm doing it now because I'm still going to have more money in my life.
Amen.
I'm doing it now before I have that money. So it will not be more difficult there. People say it's because you now have a private jet. It's because you now have. That's why you're saying it. Yeah. I'm saying it now. I do that all the time. Sometimes I did a master class on wealth. I did it in a month when I was having a financial trouble. And I told them because I've already sown, I'm going to reap. So I like telling things when I'm in the process, so that when I come out of the process, people will know that it is not because I've come out. So that family was joyful. When there is love at home, there is joy. I tell you, if you're living in a house and your father is beating your wife, there is no joy. It's not because of the poverty. It's because your father doesn't know how to manage his emotion. He's a terrible husband. So he's not creating a toxic environment.
And you said joy is an emotion.
Joy is an emotion. So once your father has brought toxicity into the home, you think it's because of poverty. No, there are a lot of happy families that don't have money. And it is more likely that the children of that family will grow up and succeed because there is non-toxic emotion. So parks, nature, friends, people you can trust. I go to events, you say people be running. One of the greatest business relationship I've made in my life was meeting Adebola Williams. And how did I meet Adebola Williams? We were both in the audience at Inside Out with Agatha. And we started talking to ourselves. We've been business partners for 21 years. Over 20 years, we've made. Let's not talk. There's a new tax law next year. So I'm telling you, but young people will go to events rather than creating meaningful relationships. They'll be pursuing people for their cards. So you don't even you're pursuing a big man for his card who doesn't care about you. Meanwhile, you could have met a friend for life sitting beside you. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that, poverty, there's nothing good about poverty.
Nothing. What's that song again about Sakpa? Something.
It's a terrible thing. I'm not saying that anything good. I'm saying, no matter what stage you are in life, you can be happy. So I had to go and do the research for these young people. I'm like, if you need to spend time in nature, there's nature in Ikorodu. I grew up in Ikorodu, that's why I know this. There are lakes, untamed lakes. If you go down from Odogunyo, you start going down further. There are untamed lakes. If you look, you'll find that. In this December, there are a lot of free concerts. If you need to go and spend time with people, Lagos State does one. There's so many. When I live here, when I finish my meeting, I'm going for a free stage play that's happening at Muson Center. I found it on Google. The Duke of Shomolu is doing a free. I'm like, free stage play. I'm teaching people to deliberately find the things that bring?
I have a
joy?
confession.
Yes.
My confession is that sometimes when I try to find myself, or like I need a breather, right?
Yeah.
My escape is travel.
That's great.
Because you're not around. Yeah. I'm like, that's when I just try to like find myself. Okay. Like once I get to that plane, everything just comes down. Like, and I love to journal. Yeah. So I journal a lot, right? So and then I begin to hear, if not myself, but I'm hearing something. Yeah. I'm seeing something. Yeah. I'm writing something. Yeah. I'm not forcing it. Yeah. But I just need to get out of something. So I might never find this in my bedroom. Yeah. I've tried to make my space something I can always fall in love with. Right? Even if I'm in the dark. Yes. I want to fall in love with my space. Yes. So it's not necessarily my bedroom. It could be my office, space. I want to just make it a table and a chair. Yeah. But make it welcoming. Yeah. So I'm actually getting there. So even if I don't have that time to travel, let me run downstairs to my office and say, okay, Tosin, now that you are here, this is all of you. Right? Absolutely. Listen to yourself and then just let it all out. Absolutely. So that connection thing, the nature thing, I will never forget this from this interview because that way, that's how people, that's one of the easiest way, but it's difficult to some people.
It's difficult because of society. There's a philosopher called Rene Girard. He came up with a theory, is it a theory? Well, let me call it a theory, called mimetic desire. Many of us, the things we want and we get in life, it's not the things we truly want. We want what other people want.
Yes.
So we have not yet asked ourselves, what do I want? Mm-hmm. Let me give you an instance. As you know now, I lived in Surulere for years. Yeah. Everybody was living in Lekki. I'm like, but I can't afford. And also at that time, the water in Lekki was bad. I don't know if it has improved.
I don't know.
And all my peers were living, not all, many of my peers were living. Yeah. And I never understood why people said, you should. I'm like, the space. So for me, my home needs to have a lot of space. And with my budget, I would have more space in Surulere than I would have with the same amount in Lekki. Yeah. It was a no-brainer. Because when I got home every night, I needed to feel joy. I needed to be happy to go home. It's a tragedy that many young people today think they have many educated, digitally connected young people think they have to live on the island. It's a tragedy that many of them think they have to use Ubers, even if they can't afford it. If you can afford it, there's no problem. Yeah. Because this thing you mentioned, you go into a house every night and you are uncomfortable because you and your friend are sharing. You are sharing, you hate the roommates. You are stretched. You don't have a place to breathe. You have no view from your room.
No sunlight.
No sunlight. There is research that shows that location affects your happiness. Yeah. So there are a lot of decisions, I tell you, there are a lot of bad decisions we are making that are stealing our joy.
True.
And we don't know it. And because you are financially stretched, you don't even have money to do the things you enjoy doing. I tell some of my mentees, take that money and go and rent a place in Shongotedo and have 3 rooms and let it be by the beach and save money to buy a car. Ultimately, you will be happier. So we make a lot of terrible, they're not only bad for our happiness, they're also bad for our long-term wealth.
True.
So, but we're not here to talk about wealth today. Yeah. Talk about happiness. So this thing you said is so important. You have a home that you love. You have enough disposable income to travel every now and again. That is a priceless gift you're giving to your spirit. Yeah. And some people they think that it's when they earn more money. What they don't understand is if you start living your life based on others, at every level you will buy things to impress them.
If I tell you my location, my current location right now, it's not far to the beach.
Right.
So I live around Ogombo.
That's what we are saying.
And
that's it.
And the beach is just 5 minutes. So it's connected to the coastal road now. So it's just 5 minutes drive.
Yes.
There's Barracuda, there's Ziba. So it's either you go paid on,
or you go this free. You get it.
You know, and for me, the whistle, like the whistle of the ocean whistling to me is one out of so many.
Yes.
So that's just one part of Lagos. Yes. And I really resonate with living on the island as a big deal.
Yes.
Growing up K2 all my life until 2014. I also lived in Surulere with JP Martins.
Right.
Then school, PAU. Right. Then I think that was when I just said stay on the island. I did just decide to stay on the island, right? The decision came around my work. So my work is mostly here. So I've lived in Oniru, moved to Ikate, moved to Chevron, now I'm in Ogombo.
Right.
People ask, why am I moving forward? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Well, that's my reality.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I've lived in locations that, even if you hear it, right now, I can't afford that money.
Yes.
But would you not want to put me in that position because I need to pay rent of 15 million, 20 million yearly, excluding electricity and other bills? And my monthly income is not even as realistic as what you are trying to pin on me.
Yes.
So I'm also sharing life experiences so that you understand that it's not just affecting me or you, it's affecting other people that can also stand on their feet and make a decision for themselves.
And that's why I'm saying this. That's why when you said that about when you said about iPhone, that's why I said I am telling them
the iPhone is a problem now.
But continue, so I interrupted you. I'm telling them not to buy it. I said this on a financial planning. So there are two reasons. That iPhone, let's talk about it. On a financial planning level, my former CFO used to tell me something. She said, CJ, but that's not the finish for markets. I said to people, don't worry about an iPhone. Don't worry. There will be a new level of iPhone in 5 years.
Sure.
So use the money to do something for your future now. When 5 years come and you can afford it easily, you will have both that thing you save money to buy, if it's to build a house, if it's to buy land, whatever it is, if it's to start a business, and you will have the latest iPhone in 5 years.
Exactly.
So it's like time. I know, look, I've been in this industry for 25 years. I know the people that were the top artists there. People that had the finest cars, the finest houses.
The eyes on my neck.
I know them.
I know.
I know those that were put under pressure
Yeah.
to live this life.
Yeah.
The people that ran, I tell you that when I was growing up, the biggest banks in Nigeria are not the banks that are existing today.
True.
You know,
Ocean
when I
Lake
was
Bank.
I don't want to mention anyone.
No, I'm just saying. No, like.
No, I'm joking. Yes, I know what I'm saying. So I'm saying, even on a financial planning basis, delaying spend you cannot afford enhances your ability to afford things that you want in the future. But right now, it will squelch your field of possibilities. It will make you unhappy. It will make you broke. It will make you suffer for a longer time. And what people don't understand is that we now have an economy that incentivizes foolish spending.
True.
Phone manufacturers release new models constantly.
Twice in a year.
Apps make you pay more than you would pay for a particular service.
True.
So you're not aware that you are living in an economy that is designed to keep you dependent.
I know.
And so when you understand that as a young person, tell yourself that if you really want to be rich, then wait until you are rich. There's nothing wrong with any of these things.
True.
Ike Osakedua, you know Ike?
Yeah, I know Ike.
He gave me advice many years ago. It wasn't even me he was giving. He was talking to other people. He said, Chude, I never buy anything I cannot replace easily. So what he would say is, if I bought a car, I will only buy a model that if the car was stolen, I can easily go and buy that car again. If that's not the case, I can't afford it yet. If I buy a car that I have to push money to, and the reason why we're talking about is that those things affect your joy.
True.
And the people you are trying to impress, they will not still be impressed.
They're not. It's not enough.
It's not it. Just you said it. It's never.
It's not enough.
It's never enough.
Oh my God. All right. So I'm on chapter 6 right now, where you talked about joyful.
Right.
He said my life situation hadn't changed when joy returned to my life.
Yeah.
Nothing material had changed. So I'm just picking this particular line from where you stopped with your response, but I'm heading over to page 148, where you talked about personal relationships. You know, they are just important to you as your health, and also as diet and exercise, right? So you said people who are more isolated than they want to be from others find what they are less happy. Their health declines earlier in midlife. So their brain functioning declines sooner and they live shorter lives than people who are not lonely. So then you talked about your mom. You talked about your mom here, and I'm just going to read quickly. My mother came home every other day as I went through the Great Depression. The one person's love and validation I had known for sure all my life is my mother. And so often taking it for granted at the time, I hadn't expected our presence to be such a healing force.
Yeah.
But it was.
Yeah.
It reassured me.
Yeah.
It comforted me.
Yeah.
It equipped me.
Yeah.
When I saw this particular paragraph, right, I had to like bookmark it.
Yes, I see that.
Because I said, okay, let me now ask, or let me just talk about this part. Let me ask, is what I was saying. You know, you talked about your mom being your solace. She gave you this reassurance, you know, and you were still in that great depression.
Yeah.
So what was the feeling like, if you can just take us back? Because sometimes people finding joy don't even find it in families.
Yes.
They don't find it in parents.
Yeah.
Some even say blood is not family.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But I'm going back to the fact that your mom was there.
Yes.
So for others who are watching and maybe they don't have anybody like this figure in their lives, like what would you say to them?
Right. Okay, yes. You know, my mom sent me a message yesterday. Said, oh, what's your plan for the Christmas? I'm like, I don't understand. She said, are you still coming to spend time in the house? I'm like, are you playing? Of course. Ever since I came out of depression, I spend every Christmas day with my mom. I learned it. Because I learned that, so the time when I remember when you were telling me a story about, I remember one day, one of my mentors, I remember when we fixed a meeting on Christmas Day. When I was depressed, neither my business nor that mentor was there for me. The person that was there for me was my mom.
Yeah.
Now, I see a lot of things that young people say on social media. For instance, young people, oh, like you say, blood is not family. And that can be true. There are certain situations where your family is not the best place for you. But too many of us make that decision too quickly. I've seen too many people who abandoned their family, and when they were sick, when they were trying to raise money, when they passed, the friends that they were going around with were not the ones that stood for them. It was still that auntie that they said that was wicked. That still went to gather money to take care of them. The research shows that the most important predictor of happiness is warm relationships. Warm, stable relationships. They didn't say not perfect relationships. I was watching a movie, one of the most beautiful movies that came out this year is My Mother is a Witch by Nia Kimolayan.
Okay, I haven't watched it.
And everybody should watch it if they can. Where did I watch it? I forget where I watched it. And it was in the cinemas. And I thought, it showed that the mother was wicked to the daughter. But she was beating the daughter, she was attacking the daughter, but it was all for the daughter's well-being. Now, parents should do better. Too many Nigerian parents use too many terrible words on their children. But the children, in turn, should separate weakness from love. Yeah? You say you're setting boundaries to your parents, but if you set them too tightly, it will affect your joy. You have to have the capacity to live with imperfection from those you love. You have to have the capacity. You see, this is where the conversation, for instance, about marriages, this is where we get it wrong. The research shows when people talk about an abusive marriage should be escaped, should be left. But when people now on the other side now say, but don't leave your marriage easily, people think they're trying to say cope with everything. You are saying no, find a balance. Because one of the predictors of long-term well-being is stable marriages, stable partnerships, stable relationships. Yeah? So what I'm trying to say is that whether it is friendships, whether it is marriage, whether it is with your parents, whether it is your siblings, you are better served if you are able to find a way to maintain a positive, stable, warm relationship with them, no matter how imperfect they are. Be very slow to cut off family. Be very slow to end friendships. Be very slow. Don't do them because the person did something you didn't like yesterday. Set boundaries if you must. Speak your mind. Ask for what you want. Be very slow to end relations because there's no perfect person outside.
I know.
There's no perfect mother outside.
Yeah.
Now, if you now must cut off your family and your friends, then be ready to do the emotional labor of building a new unit.
True.
The Bible says, a man who wants friends must make himself friendly. You must now, so if you're cutting off the people in your life, you now need to be mindful. You now need to invest time, emotion, resources in building a new family. Not fake friends. People who I ask my younger friends all the time, if you are broke today, that friend, can you live in her house?
I'm thinking.
Will she inconvenience herself for you? If she won't, she's not your friend, she's an acquaintance.
True. So there's this difference between colleagues, friends, acquaintances. People don't know the difference.
They don't know.
They call everybody friends.
If you cannot be imperfect in front of your friend, if you cannot make mistakes, if your friend cannot inconvenience themselves when you have a financial need, they are not your friends. Remember the other day we were celebrating Nancy Sima and Yemi Alade. That Nancy Sima I interviewed Yemi Alade. Nancy Sima lived in her house. These were two young, hip ladies living now where they were students in Unilab. And it was inconvenient for Yemi Alade. That's a friendship.
And they are both successful now.
And they are both successful. Your family will inconvenience themselves for you. So if you're not going to like your family, build trustworthy networks like that. Because that is the number one predictor of long-term happiness. So I learned that when I was depressed. My friend stood for me. I moved to Debola's house. I write it in the book. I told you my best friend, who was my ex-girlfriend, followed me to Fela's house. She would cook for me. She would bring food to the house. My mother was coming every other day. All the achievements, all the award, all the speaking engagements, none of them could help me. It did not matter. And so when I came out of it, I knew how to hold on to my friends. I knew how to hold on to my mother. I knew how to hold on to my God, because those are the things. They've done research, deathbed research. When people are dying, they don't ask for their award. They don't ask for their Grammys. They don't ask for their Emmys. They don't ask for their Oscars. They remember the wife they abandoned in their youth. They remember the children they treated well or poorly. When at the end of our lives, the research shows, what we cry for are warm, stable relationships.
Okay, so we just talked about chapter 6, where you wrote about joyful. So now between chapter 4 and 5, you talked about suicide and spirituality. So what was that turning point that moved you from not wanting to be here to beginning the journey back?
When I realized that I could be happy, even if everything is falling apart in my life, that's the most important thing I've realized in my life. See, I write it in the book, I write it in the last chapter. There's something about the human spirit that has the capacity to thrive even in the midst of trouble. There's something. And this is what I tell people. I say, okay, even if you're not happy, don't make it worse with sadness and fear. So I say,
and anxiety.
Every situation, I'm like, okay, don't even believe me. Don't believe me that you can be happy in bad situations. It's okay. But this is what I know for sure. Being unhappy in bad situations makes it worse. There's a theory in University of North Carolina, Barbara Fredrickson. It's called the broaden and build theory. It says if you face difficult situation with positive emotion, you are more able to be creative in finding solutions to the problem. Chude Jideonwo came on my show. Chude Jideonwo said one day he woke up, and the actor, and he was paralyzed. He had cerebral Bell's palsy. And Chude Jideonwo said, before that, I've been saying all these things I'm saying. Oh, be happy, it is you. I said, so now God has decided to test whether he truly believes in it. He said, instead of him to, he never ever doubted his ability to survive it. So instead, but because he had Bell's palsy means one side of your body collapses, or in his own case. And so because of that, he couldn't act for years. He said, what did he do? He became a director and a producer. He said, the fact that instead of asking why me, he asked himself, what can this do for me? So he says, and he didn't know he didn't know the research behind it. The research says, whenever a problem comes to your life, be curious. Ask yourself, what can I do with this problem? What can this problem do? It's not because, I'm not saying you should go in the road and be saying, problem, come, I'm looking for you. No. But if problem has come, you are better served asking yourself, how can I learn to deal with this problem? So that is what I discovered from being depressed. In it, which Chude comes from depression. It is because of all I went through. I said, I'm going to do a show that shares people's deepest problems. So in the midst of my deepest trouble, just shifting my perspective with the help of that meeting with Fela Toye helped me realize, oh, there's something else. You lose your job. So I think, oh, that's great. Now you have the time to think about, is there anything I want to do with my life? Or sometimes it might be that you were a terrible employee. And now you have the space to reflect and see, how can I do better in my next job? You know, you run a business. Even running with bad principles, it collapses. Great. Now you have the time to reflect and think, how do I ensure that the next business has structure that sustains itself? Concern, I'm telling you, if trouble comes, it has already come. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
So how about you now face that trouble by saying, what can this trouble? So that's what I learned. The fact that the depression that I faced in 2016 can give me my popular talk show, can help me do the biggest talk show in the live talk show in the country, 5,000 people, with Chimamanda and Jerry.
Sold out.
Sold out. It is from that sold out. You were
sold
there.
Out.
It is from there that I was nominated for the EMVCAs, nominated for the AMAs because I did a documentary that I wouldn't have done before. Because of this show, I have interviewed. My show has gone to Kenya, South Africa. I just came back from Accra. Because of depression, all these things came out.
And there's a book.
And there is a book that is apparently a bestseller because, as you said, you went to the store, it was sold out.
It was sold out.
Who would have thought, Tosin,
nobody,
that when I was going through depression, I'm going to write a book? If somebody had come to tell me then I'm going to write a book, I would have slapped the person. But just being open has opened up vistas of my life that, and no matter what comes my way, Tosin, I don't fear trouble. I don't fear trouble.
But a lot of us, including me, we need to get to that point.
Yes, that's why I wrote the book. There's an entire chapter about fear.
Okay. Okay, so my last question, right? Because I know we can go on and on.
Yes. I've enjoyed this a lot.
Same here.
For all your panicking, this is like the most enjoyable I've done so far.
I was panicking. Okay, so how was writing this survivor story and even sharing it, because this is a public device.
Yes.
It's digital.
Yes.
You can carry it anywhere. Yes. But I mean, writing this and even sharing it publicly, right? So how has writing this survivor story and sharing it publicly affected your own healing process?
Affected my own healing process. Oh God. Oh, I think that this book, when I finished writing this book, I'm not going to say how long it took to write the book until after 5 years. Why? But because I don't want it to affect the way people receive the book. But when I wrote it, I told you I wrote it after that in 2020. No, I wrote the book. I went through the depression in 2016.
Okay.
I wrote the book in 2024. I remember that was when the streamer stopped answering me. A lot of things had gone wrong. And I'd asked God, why was all the doors closing? I was saying, well, and then I heard, no, all the doors are not closed. They're opening in one direction. You're just not paying attention. And that was when I entered into my retreat. And remember, I entered into my retreat in a time of turmoil. And that they did not come and meet me in the retreat to say that my Instagram has gone down. Yeah. But I was still, and I write it in the book. As they told me, so I wrote it into the book that as I'm writing, my Instagram page with over 300,000 followers has been taken down, but it doesn't matter. Meta has no authority over my joy. I wrote it while my Instagram page was still down to see. So, but then I came out and I said, nothing has the permission to affect the joy. And so when I came out after writing the book, I felt healed all over again. Because I remembered, because after the whole streamer thing, I was affected. I'm a human being, trouble can affect me. When I finished writing, I thought, how did I allow trouble to confuse me? I've gone through worse. I've learned how to do trouble right. So when I finished writing this my own book, my own story healed me. And when I finished writing, I remember saying in my living room, I was in London at the time, I said, this book is going to change lives. Because I knew what it had done even for me, who was the author of the book. And I said, right, I really, because I always say, sometimes I'll say, God said to me, and I tell people, you don't have to believe that it's God. You can think it's my intuition, you can think it's whatever it is. Whatever it is that said to me, write this book, was right. Because people need this book.
So what's the demographic for the audience for this book?
Now, my preferred demographic is young people who are just starting out their lives. Because if you are in your 20s, you have a fantastic opportunity to build the building blocks of happiness early. I wish I'd learned. I did an interview with Chude Jideonwo.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to slap him out of anger because he was saying so many things that it took me 10 years, 20 years to learn about joy, about happiness.
He's always happy.
He's always happy. And he's grounded. And I thought, how do you know this thing at 20-something? If you start early, you build joy deeper, faster, longer. So my preferred demographic would be younger people in their 20s. However, I do know that that's not automatically the demographic that well, actually, it is the second. If I look at my content, it's the second after the 34 to the second people that are usually 24 down. Okay. And so I also want my peers to learn from it. I also want successful people generally. Do you understand? Who have tried, they've hustled to be happy. They've bought car, they've bought house.
And they've gone through their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. That means they're married, they have like grandkids.
Yes.
Something
I think
like
I wrote
that.
in the book that when I was in my 20s, I was desperate to get married because I was lonely. And I thought relationship was going to cure me. I think I wrote it there. I said, thank God. If I had gotten married in my 20s, I would be miserable today. And who would have told me? Because I wanted to be like everybody. I thought that's what. And so can you imagine how many people who have gotten married because they thought it would make them happy? Yeah. They thought it would make people respect them more. You know that.
It's not just getting married; it's a society, honestly. It's what the society has
put on top of it.
On us.
So I want those people to read the book. So essentially, I'm saying I want everybody to read the book. And I can see the people who have given me feedback have seen it. But the most important people are young people. I feel so much compassion. If you notice, I don't use Gen Z because I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, Gen Z. Young people are young people. After Gen Z, there will be Gen Alpha. Yeah. After Gen Alpha, there will be Gen Beta.
And then boomers.
So I think once you are young, once you're in your teens and your 20s, you have a fantastic opportunity to build the foundation of your life. That's wanted to learn from those who have gone before you and say, oh, they've made these mistakes. I don't need to make them. Those are the people I most want, I'm thinking to God to give me capacity. I was hoping to do, me, I do premium content. So I don't do free events.
Yes.
But I've been telling my team members, I think I want to do a free event for young people. I used to do an event called, this is not where I'm supposed to be in life. When I would meet young people, I would ask them, why are you unhappy? That was the first thing they would say.
I just remember something, Chude, and I want to say this, yes. Please. There was a time, I don't even know if you know this, right? But there was a time where in the house in Surulere,
yes,
there was this exclusive invitation. If you don't get the email, you didn't get it. Like, if you didn't receive that email, and it usually happens December 26th.
Yes, you remember the exact day. Yes,
excuse me. 26th of December every year, Chude will gather young people, professionals, entrepreneurs, self-employed, like depending on what your career or business phase was. But young people in his living room, say, come as you are. When you get to the doorstep, pull off your slippers, your shoes, you walk in, you sit comfortably, the chef comes, what do you want? Gives you water, gives you everything. You all sit and then you just talk, share. I experienced it. If I didn't experience it, I don't think I was able to explain it the way I'm explaining it right now. Because even for some of us who experienced that, I know most of us are not even here, like some are, abroad, traveled and all of that, but it did something to us.
Thank you for saying
when you talked about free events, that was my free event for Chude. Because the exclusive email was not just because I am Oluwasupagel or Tosin Ajibade. It was the fact that it was also, there was this mindfulness behind it.
Yes.
It wasn't just calling people.
Yes.
And again, it was in his home.
Yes.
So you wouldn't expect that the organizers, aside from the fact that Chude was hosting us, would bring in people. But it was this dedication behind it. Like, okay, I was really proud and I was really humbled, that I was also part of the people that experienced, that period in my life. Your life.
Yes.
Because you did something to some of us at that time.
And that's what I want to do. I'm hoping next year is so full with, I'm doing a book tour, but if I can, I want to, because young people need to hear it. They need to hear it. They need, I know that I'm rare in this society, and I say that without ego.
Yeah.
Because I've chosen to live my life differently from how most people have been told they have to live their life. And there are many young people who are living under the bondage of conformity, of perfection, of inauthenticity. And they don't know that they can choose different. I want them, if they can, they should, they should read this book. It will help them. I went from my childhood. I went from, you were talking about struggling with your looks. I talk about in my chapter 1, growing up thinking that I was unattractive. And I talked to them practically. I was in fact, when I was, I'm like, you are so honest about how I came out of that. I talked about being afraid of poverty.
At the point I had braces on.
Yes,
because of my teeth. And guess what? Everyone in my family, we have the same teeth, dentition. Like we have diastema for my dad, my grandfather, my dad, myself, my siblings, you know. And people were like, oh, your teeth is too big. I had braces on. I think after 6 months, I took them out.
Yeah.
That was one phase again in my life that led me to that point.
You thought that you were not. And so that's what I'm saying. You see, this is why I wrote this book.
So it dealt with me too.
That's why
honestly, it dealt with me.
Yeah. Because we don't say these things in public.
It dealt with me too.
Yes, of course it did. Of course it did. Of course it did. Of course it did. I know when you're a man, they tell you that, oh, once you make money, and you will attract women. And I said, the kind of woman you attract because of money, not the kind of woman that you should be attracting in the first place. The kind of men you attract because of what you have. That's why most people, say. That's why you see young people, they marry somebody, they feel they start attacking the person in public because they thought that once they marry that person, it will make them feel better about themselves. Yeah. But your insecurity will follow you forever, wherever you go. You have to deal with the insecurity. I dealt with my insecurity. And so that's why I wrote the book. Nobody else has so far told us about the depth of emotional turmoil that many successful people go through. I know them because they're always coming to me for advice. They're always coming to me to say I should come and do coaching. I say I'm not here doing coaching. I see them at my events. I see them at airports. They say, can I just have 20 minutes of your time? I know that they are all going through these things. I've done us, I don't want to say a favor, but I've done us the duty of using my own life to tell that story. So you don't need to go through those things because you can learn from somebody who has.
So it's a healing journey, it's a healing process.
It's a healing journey.
And I think if I have to say my own takeout for me, I won't leave again. But definitely, I have taken a lot from this session, right? Because one of the things I've also learned is intentionality.
Yeah.
Being intentional. When you talked about Tobe season and how he's a young chap, right? And he's doing so well. Yeah. That's Tobe, that's his own generation. Yes. I'm in my own generation. Yes. You are in your own generation. Yes. And we also have people that are older than us, even way younger than us. So, and looking at the fact that when I asked about the demographic, I was really, really specific about that question. It was like one of the questions that I even sent, right? Because at the end of the day, we find out that even the joy doesn't even start when you start making money. It's about the little things that you didn't appreciate. It's about the not being contented. Contentment is one of the key things too. Because I know that I can relate, and I know that even while we were talking, I can still remember a whole lot of experiences that I've had, and I realized that yes, everybody will still go through that phase. But even if you get to the point of no control and self-damage, you can always find solace in this book. Yes. You can always find solace in finding joy in little things. Like recently, I've been journaling for years. Journaling, that's my own escape. That's one of my escapes. I talked about traveling and journaling. Yes. So I just go to my journal, I just write my feelings, write everything, ask questions. Even in my, I just go on and on. Some people might never find it as an escape. They might never find those little things as one of the things that they can also do to help themselves regain,
it's a powerful one though.
Joy. So I know there's a lot, and I'm seeing a lot, right? I know there's a lot, but what is that take home to anyone watching? Like, okay, this is what I want you to, even if you didn't sit down to watch this entire interview, what is that take home you would tell someone out there? I'm going to put all the demographics together. Yes. So let's just give it to us.
This is the most powerful thing I learned, and I say it in the book. Right now, exactly as you are, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you still want to achieve, you have access to happiness as you are. It's the most important thing I've learned. I woke up this morning, I was feeling a bit blue. And I said, I went to go and check out. When I'm a driver, I went to National Theatre. There's a place, there's a waterfront, there's a thing there I saw in a music video, and I like nature. I said, okay, no, I don't want to go to where I've gone to. Let me just go to National Theatre. And I went alone. I had no journey. I just walked down that walkway walked around for 15 minutes. I came out, I was happy, you know. And I said, this was free. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to buy any bottle in the club. I didn't have to do anything to experience this. Sometimes when I'm in the midst of turmoil, I just sit, I just stand and I breathe in 10 times. And I feel peace. Every morning I meditate for 5 minutes. I'm always laughing because it brings me joy. All of the things I mentioned are free of charge. No matter who you are, no matter what you are going through, no matter where you are, no matter what you still have to achieve, you have access at this very moment to joy. That's the most important lesson I've learned so far about joy.
Feels like I'm in a yoga class or a meditation class. Like I was looking into you. Thank you so much, Chude, for your time. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you for everything. Even if I don't know, I really don't know what to say. But thank you so much for pouring. Is what that's the word, pouring. You know, yourself into this book and also sharing, you know, intimate. Secret experiences, even the things that you had to go through and how you came out of it. And you didn't just tell us what you went through, you gave us solutions. So thank you for the solutions and everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing this. I don't know, I know you don't know this. I don't think you know this, or maybe you do. But you have one of the most powerful platforms in the country.
And I'm not using it well.
Well, I don't know. But let me tell you, you have, this is what at the retreat, I always say to people, I say, when I tell them something, they say, well, I'm not using it, I'm like, that is unconfirmed. But what is confirmed, that you have one of the most powerful platforms, and you've gone through enough things that should have collapsed it. You've survived 3 eras of content when they should have been talking about the Super Girl like before. You know, like, oh, you know, that time used to be, and you know a lot of platforms that have collapsed. People that had more money than you, more resources, more networks, more steez than you had when you started. But I was thinking about somebody the other day. I was telling somebody, I was coming to do an interview, and they was, Super Girl, you know her. I'm like, and I was thinking, this is a young person. That's how strong the brand still is for a 23-year-old. You know, so I don't know if you know this, but I thought you do. But you have an incredibly powerful platform, and it's a testament to your own power as a leader that you've kept your brand sterling through 3 eras of content in our country. I'm incredibly proud of you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.